Evening. Welcome to the Town Council meeting this Thursday, November 16th, 2023. If you could please put your phones on silent, that would be great. Let's have the roll call. Sandy Sturgill.
Here.
Mary Hansen.
Here.
Alana Courtney.
Here.
I am here. Bill Goldsmith is here. Larry Tuning. Beth Justice.
Here.
And Marjorie Austin.
Here.
Having a quorum, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
You come first.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sake.
That's what always follows that, isn't it?
There are a few situations.
Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda as presented.
Second?
I second the motion.
Ms. Sturgill seconds the motion. Any discussion? Taking a vote. Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
Mary Hansen?
Yes.
Alana Courtney?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Tuning?
Yes.
Beth Justice?
Yes.
Marjorie Austin?
Yes.
All right. The first item on the agenda is a move. We've had a public hearing with the Planning Commission for changing the comprehensive plan regarding our Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act. And we are now entering a public hearing. I'll turn this over to Mr. Kine.
All right. This is a long-awaited public hearing. The reason we're doing it is since the creation of the town's comprehensive plan in December of 2012, there have been a number of changes to the Chesapeake Bay Act and the regulations of the Department of Environmental Quality. These changes have not been reflected in our comprehensive plan or in town ordinance. An attempt was made to redraft the language by staff of the Middle Peninsula Planning Council in 2019. That attempt did not satisfy DEQ staff when it was submitted for review. Since that time, the town staff has worked on a substitute for that portion of the comprehensive plan solely regarding the Chesapeake Bay Act. The language contained in the resolution to be considered has been reviewed by the DEQ staff and approved. The resolution to amend the comprehensive plan regarding the Chesapeake Bay Act was referred to the Planning Commission for its review and was considered at a public hearing held Tuesday, November 14th. At the conclusion of that public hearing, the Planning Commission, by motion, unanimously recommended the Town Council that the resolution to amend be passed. And that's what we're having a public hearing on.
All right. Is anybody on the list for public comment?
No, sir.
All right. And so at this point, we close the public hearing, right?
Yep.
And the action by the town council is the vote at this point, or do we move on to?
No, I'd do it right now.
We have to make the motion, so I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the comprehensive plan pertaining to the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act as presented.
I second.
All right. Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? All right.
I did get a phone call in regards to it, and basically the person that called me said that in the beginning, when they first brought this up, that localities were supposed to play a much more significant role in how things go with the ordinance, and their DEQ pretty much has an orange stamp. Well, that's true or not, I don't know.
Well, that
Right.
pretty much is what we have found, is that
Right.
we send in things that we think are okay, and then we have to massage it, including changing
Right.
some of the details on the maps,
I
which,
guess the point is, we don't have a whole lot of say
Right.
in the process.
and this is a pro forma thing, but it does bring us into compliance.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I'm with you.
No further discussion. Let's have the vote. Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes.
Larry Tuning.
Yes.
Mayor says yes. Alana Courtney.
Yes.
Mary Hansen.
Yes.
Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
The ordinance is passed.
The resolution.
Resolution is passed.
Resolution.
And now, we have a public hearing for passing the ordinance to amend the Urbana Town Code, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Right, the reason we're doing this is one of the sections of the town ordinance, section 17-4.10.11, must be amended to reflect information that the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality now requires on site plans or development plans that are submitted to the town for consideration. The amendment, which has been referred to the Planning Commission for its recommendation, was considered at a public hearing held on Tuesday, the 14th. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning Commission, by motion, recommended to the Town Council that the amendment be passed.
All right. Any public comment on that? Having no public comment, we'll close the public hearing, and now can I have,
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-03 to amend the Urbana Town Code, section 17-4.10.11.1 as presented.
Sandy?
Approve.
You second? Okay, I just got to keep everybody in line here.
I know.
All right, we'll start with Marjorie this time. Any discussion?
No.
All right. Marjorie?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Alana?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
All right.
I would like
Oh.
to thank the council, because I have been working on this for 2 years.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Because I know,
Thank you, Roy.
I know there's been many false starts, many hiccups, and, we still had another month, but it's done.
It was getting close.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you so much. We were not going to let you go until
It was done.
All
you
right,
do it.
moving on. You now have minutes for,
September 14th,
And October 30th.
and October 30th.
30th, yes.
Do I have a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September
Let me finish the
14th
sentence, Mark.
meetings and the October 30th special meeting. I just read faster than you.
That's fine.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
Would you like to second it?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. We're going to shift it up here a little bit.
Sorry.
All right. Any discussion on that? All right. I'll start with Mary Hanson.
Yes.
Sandy Sturgill?
Yes.
Alana?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
No, I didn't wait long enough. Yes.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the reports. I will start this off. I want to thank everyone because we had a very good oyster festival. We had excellent weather, as everyone was aware, and the turnout, the estimate based on parking was around 50,000 people, and I'm pleased to say that the police didn't have very many bad interactions, and so that's a pretty successful weekend. In keeping with that, I would like to thank this staff. The staff for this town doesn't get enough credit for the work that they do and the stuff that they do and the extra time that they put in.
Yeah.
And I want to give a special thanks to Michelle because during tax time
Absolutely.
with Oyster Festival, the Christmas parade, and dealing with the taxes, she goes over and above. And I would say, because the phone lines burn enough as it is, it would be great if you just think good thoughts, because when the phone rings, I don't know that we need to answer it that much, but occasionally say thank you to these folks because they really deserve it.
Thank you, Michelle.
And that goes for everybody. Mr. Keim and I met with Buzz Lambert and the aquatics and wellness heads from the regional YMCA to discuss a partnership with the Y to increase the utilization of our new pool in the off hours so that we can have it used for more than just the normal swim times. And the goal of that is to have us work collaboratively with the Y so that we increase the facility use for both our area and to not detract from what's going on in Deltaville, but to try to add more space for people to get things done. And that's something that we're working on a plan with them, and it's going to pick up towards the later this month or the early part of next year. Mr. Tuning attended the Chesapeake Bay Cigarette Board meeting, and they had concerns about the fact that there's a movement to take menthol cigarettes off the market, and that's about 35% of cigarette sales. I would say it's the opinion of some people that if you smoke menthol cigarettes, that if you don't have access to menthol cigarettes, you'll put a Mentos in your mouth and smoke a regular cigarette. But, I don't think it's going to have that much impact, but the play that they were making was that it might have as much as a 35% decrease in the tax revenue that the town would get. And that's sort of a double-edged sword, because fewer people smoking, I would think we would be happy with, rather than the tax money, but that's just me, maybe.
Bill, can I ask one question about the pool, since you were just
Yeah.
talking about that? Do we have lights to where the pool can be utilized at night?
There are lights in the pool, yes, and there are some lights around the building.
Okay.
We'll probably at some point have to put some spots like at the far end, but there are lights all around the building.
Okay.
And there's definitely lights in the pool.
It's wired so you can put lights in.
Okay.
It's ready to go.
Okay. Thank you, Roy.
As of this week, the trash service is moving to Tuesday only. As a plug for committees, committees turn over at the beginning of the year, and I would encourage people to apply for committees. There are applications at the back of the room, but they will be reformed, and positions will be open for some of those committees starting in January. That we'll get into that at the beginning of next year. One piece of sad news is we were turned down for our most recent boating infrastructure grant project with the floating docks at the north end. They didn't give us a reason, but said, don't be discouraged, apply again next year, and we have until next July to apply for that. I think everybody knows at this point that there was the death of a dog that was suspected of poisoning. I did call the sheriff and passed on that the owner should call the sheriff because it needs to come from them in terms of investigation. I think we all worry about our pets with respect to those kinds of things, and it's never taken lightly by anyone, and it just reminds us that we have to be vigilant, and when you see something, say something, that if there are obvious things that are out there in terms of trash that could be disruptive for any animal, trying to get them cleaned up or finding someone to get it cleaned up is certainly in the best interest of pets, people, town, whatever group you want to put it into. And we just want to pay attention so that we prevent this from happening again. And our heart goes out to the owner of that dog, because it's a sad thing for everybody, but absolutely for them, because they've lost a family member that means a lot to them. And then the last thing I have, which is sort of a redemption story. At this point, almost 3 years ago, as everyone is aware, there was a large turnover of staff and council members. And when we were reforming, there were a bunch of files that were missing that were associated with Holly Gailey's hard drive with respect to budgets, minutes, all kinds of things. And there were accusations made at that point that were, you'd have to say that Holly's character was maligned in that particular circumstance. It turns out that last Tuesday, when Frank from Franktronics, our IT guy, was poking around on our server, he found a hard drive that had been inadvertently disconnected in the server. And when he reconnected it, it turned out it was Holly's hard drive that's been there the whole time. Somehow a plug got bumped out. And so I would like to make a formal apology in public to Ms. Gailey on behalf of the town for the undue hardship that this has caused her, because the stuff was there. How it got unhooked, I don't know. The hard drives are not marked, so you would have to methodically disconnect a hard drive, boot the machine up, see what was missing, then put it back together and do another one. And so it takes a lot of time, which would not be of Holly's character. So, again, it's, and this goes for all this stuff, really, until you really, it's easy to jump to conclusions on all kinds of things, whether it's, malfeasance by a staff member or a neighbor, whether it's, the poisoning, all these things. It's easy to jump to a conclusion, and I think we owe it to ourselves to pay attention, keep a cool head, and try to get the facts before you jump in any direction. So anyhow, that's my report.
Have you notified?
Good.
Oh, yeah. Notified her right away.
Good.
Yep. All right. Treasurer's report. And you have some other things. We'll spin that off over into some Oyster Fest news too, right? Was it Oyster
Right,
or
right,
Christmas
go right
parade?
into the parade, I'll go right
Yeah.
into that. So, the treasurer's report as per published that you all have received in your packets, there was no additions or, deletions to that. As far as the taxes, the real estate and personal property taxes were mailed out on October the 20th. All went extremely smooth. It was just amazing how smooth it went this year, until we realized that the escrow counts were also mailed to the customer and to the escrow companies. So we had a few of those. So we've been catching them along the way, and in the event that there would be a double payment, the customer will get refunded that double payment. So with that being said, with real estate, I had on my report, as of 10/31, we collected $35,046.46. As of today's bank deposit, we have collected $91,822.23. On the personal property side, as of October 31st, it was $1,016.86, and as of today's deposit, it's $3,502.96. So as you can see, from 31 to what's today, the 16th, we tripled the number, so I've been pretty busy. Going into the Oyster Festival information, the business license tax totaled $22,300, which is approximately 108 vendors. So for those vendors, they each and every one I produced a business license for. Those funds have, just a few days ago, we turned those funds back over to the Oyster Festival to aid in paying for the security. So that's an in and out. The Oyster Festival meals tax is due on or before December the 5th. And so far, I have received 3 payments totaling $4,077.53. There was a total of 29 food vendor locations. We do have some vendors that have more than one location, but 29 spots and all that will be required to come back in the form of meals tax. And those range from the birch beer guy to the popcorn guy to the full-blown restaurant menu vendors. So if you're out there cooking popcorn on the street, they're paying meals tax for that.
Does that go the same for Jimmy's, little Jimmy's
No,
that have
I
the
was-
setup out back?
That was my next sentence.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This does
Done
not
it again.
include the restaurants in town, the Something Different, the Little Jimmy's, the Virginia Street, because they're permanent and they report every month. These figures were strictly Oyster Festival. Okay,
Okay.
so,
So since he set up something extra, is what I'm asking, is that Oyster Festival or is that his business?
that fell all under his current
Okay.
licensing.
Okay, thank you.
And they have until November the 20th to report for October. So we really won't see those numbers until
December.
December, because we're
Okay.
always that month behind, giving them time to report.
Okay.
So Michelle, for the vendors, is it, we just trust them that they will,
When I became treasurer, Tracy had a spreadsheet, and I can show you back to like 2013. So what I do is I continue with her spreadsheet, and I look at Bill, who, 2 years ago reported, I'm just gonna pluck this, $300. And then last year, he reported $325. And now all of a sudden this year, he's only reporting 200. I've picked up the phone and I said, would you like to recalculate those numbers? Because we had a boomer of a year and you're telling me you made less money than the prior 2 years? So I use that as a comparison, and I've brought in funds by going back to them and saying, would you like to double check, or would you like me to call the
Yeah.
state and have them double check you? And it works. So, with that, we can have a pretty good idea of if they're cheating us or not.
yeah.
That's great.
I mean, this year, everyone's costs are up.
That's
So
true
that-
too.
Even though you might make the same thing, your expenses are up.
Right.
Michelle, the business taxes go back to the, take care of the security for the Oyster Festival.
The business license, the
Right.
meals tax we keep.
That was my
Yeah, right.
question. Okay.
The meals tax stays with the town. So at this year's Oyster Festival, I put on the treasurer's badge and I started visiting vendors. I discovered that there were 13 non-permitted vendors trying to reap the profits
Wow.
without supporting the mission of the Oyster Festival.
Oh, my goodness.
There were 6 right across.
They were given a choice. You can pay or you can pack your wares.
Uh-huh.
And one of the ones on a specific street, she didn't like what I was saying, and I said, you see my friends, the state police were standing behind me, and they told me, if you need help, just come get us and we'll pack them. So out of those 13 non-permitted, we had 8 vendors that actually paid the day of, so I came back in the office and started producing business licenses,
Wow.
running credit cards, and doing what I needed to do to make them legal. 4 of them voluntarily shut down, and 1 was allowed to stay, being it was a nonprofit and they were not selling anything. But we explained the rules of the road, and a few of us decided in the festival side that we would allow them because they weren't making any kind of profits. So that was my report for Oyster Festival.
Yeah, and
Good job, Michelle.
I
Yeah.
will
Good
also
job,
say that
Michelle.
someone had come into the office and used as an excuse that we hadn't charged them before.
Oh,
And I had used the example that you may speed past a policeman on a regular basis and they won't give you a ticket. But then some days, you get the
Yeah.
ticket. And so all you can say is you were really lucky those times you didn't get the ticket.
Right.
It didn't mean that you weren't out of line the other times.
Michelle, the nonprofits pay.
The nonprofits do not pay meals tax, but they do pay some. Usually they're discounted, but that helps offset some of the costs.
Somewhat.
I'm
They
sorry,
pay
Like a
somewhat.
license fee?
A license fee, license fee.
but they don't pay meals
they
tax.
do not pay meals.
So like Aylet Country Day School doesn't pay meals tax.
ALIT, the Women's Club, the Kiwanis Club.
Christchurch.
The
Wow.
church,
Lions
Big ones.
Club.
yeah,
Lions.
and
Those
honestly,
are
it's a
big
lot of
ones.
the big ones.
Those are
So,
big ones.
I had this conversation with Bill, we talked about it like, that fee is being passed on to the consumer.
Right.
Is this something that we want to visit, that the nonprofits also pay the meals tax?
And, yeah, and we've had that, it happened, a discussion during COVID occurred where there were some jurisdictions that were forgiving meals tax. And, the discussion became, well, if you forgive meals tax, you should really turn it over to the patron because the restaurant never paid the meals tax, but it's a tendency for when the restaurant takes it in, all of a sudden they have the sense that it's their money. It was never their money. They are acting as an agent to pass through the tax to whatever the jurisdiction is. And so technically it would be a nightmare if you wanted to forgive a meals tax, because if the Hayes had dinner at something different and we said, we're going to forgive the meals tax, they're the ones that should get the $5 back,
Right,
not the restaurant.
right.
But when you present it, it's not you pay meals tax, you collect meals tax.
Right.
Right,
You know, it's,
yeah. All right,
So, I got a little more.
okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
go.
So with the Oyster Festival flags and banners that you've seen on the street, we were out there yesterday, they are all completely down. The bucket truck is loaded and ready to start tomorrow. We were going to start today, but that kind of did not happen as far as Christmas. So we've just turned the hat and went from Oyster Festival to full-blown Christmas for in the streets. The lodging tax, of the permitted short-term rentals, we have one with no reporting since July. 4 others are lagging a month behind, and nothing at all has ever been received from any of the non-permitted short-term rentals. We now have agencies, you've heard me talk about Airbnb and HomeAway. Well, we now have added to that TripAdvisor and Priceline.
Great.
Oh.
And there's more coming to help book
Oh.
these short-term rentals.
Yeah, and there's one that's something dog too, because they let,
Animals.
yeah, they allow your dog to
What
come.
about VRBO?
Verbo
Yeah.
falls under HomeAway.
Okay,
Yep. So we have, and I had another inquiry from, I think it was bookings.com. So we have all these agencies now coming into play and going to report.
And that's got to be a nightmare for you.
It is.
Yeah,
It-
no
It's
kidding.
absolutely a nightmare.
No kidding.
As far as meals tax, everyone is current except for one restaurant that still owes for December.
December?
I mean, September.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
I'm pushing Christmas. Look at that. And we'll roll right into the Christmas, if that's okay.
yeah, keep going.
So you heard me talk about it prior. So we want everybody to enjoy the Christmas spirit all day on Saturday, December the 2nd. And so far on the lineup, we have breakfast with the elves at the Wooden Pickle. From 9 to 4, we have an alpacas, which will be next to the Women's Club. From 10 to 8, we have wine tasting at the Urbanna Trading Company. At noon, you can register your pet. And vendors, a few vendors will also be set up in Tabor Park. At 1 o'clock, we have a pet parade. At 3 o'clock, the kiddos can go to River House Creations and make an ornament. From 4:30 to 5, 4:30, the Middlesex High School Choir will be singing in front of the Festival of Trees. And at 5 o'clock, the trees will light in Town Green, well, the green area now. At 5 p.m., the Urbana Firehouse will also start selling some food items. Upon dark, we'll also have the maze in Tabor Park for the kiddos to go
Huh?
through. The Middlesex Choir will shift down to the park and sing a while, and then we have Beth Justice and Mary Hanson coming in for some live entertainment. The judging will be at the Tabor Park area. The parade will begin at 7 p.m. After the parade, Mr. and Mrs. Claus will be at the firehouse with treats. They will still have food, and Wayne Jesse will be DJing at the firehouse.
Nice.
As far as other businesses, 51 Cross Street, all the shops in there are hosting an open house and offering special sales. Resales offering 20% off merchandise. Go down to Portside and see the trains. Little Jimmy's is doing a balloon arch, and the kids can pop a balloon and win a prize. And our very own museum will also be hosting an open house. Possibly more to come.
Right.
And
hot chocolate.
And
A
the
lot.
Wooden Tickles doing,
Right.
the Wooden Tickles doing
can I
hot
ask
chocolate with the elves.
Breakfast.
Breakfast with the elves.
Breakfast with the elves, yes.
right, Michelle, how many people you have signed up for the parade?
As of this morning, I think there was 23 entrants, and
Okay.
that's not including the fire trucks.
All right, so
And-
that's
and
pretty
the-
much the average, isn't it?
We have absolutely no history.
Oh.
Everything we are doing, it's either been invented by the committee or institutional knowledge of someone who helped with the parade and all in the past.
Okay.
It's very unfortunate, but all the notes have been
Playbook is
destroyed.
gone.
So I can't tell you how many entries were in the past.
Think we should make it 24?
We'll definitely make it 20. We don't miss that one.
I think you all need to be.
Yeah.
Michelle,
Wait to see.
I am delighted to hear that we're taking out business licenses from the Oyster Festival and paying towards the security of the Oyster Festival. $22,000, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
I just have missed that over the years. I don't know when we started doing that, but that's fantastic.
I've been tasked with that since I've been here. I do believe, if I heard correctly, now the state police are free,
Yeah,
but
we
all the
feed 'em.
locals, I think that bill came in at around $47,000.
Wow.
Have we been doing this every year? I
Wow.
just didn't know that.
And do you know that, I heard it the other day, and I would just be making up a number, but what it costs the foundation to put on the Oyster Fest,
It's around $200,000.
that's what I was gonna say. I thought it was like $230,000.
And we need to do everything we can to help them. because
Absolutely.
the Sustainability of it. I mean, we had a great weather this year.
Yeah.
And last year.
Last
but-
year.
But it's gonna snow one year.
Yeah. Well, it's already rained and we still had a good time in the rain.
Really, we've seen them in snow and rain and
Right.
sleet and hail. And
92 degrees too.
Yep.
Yes,
92
that's right.
degrees, which
Yep.
is just as bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's great. I'm glad we're doing it. I don't know how I've missed that all these years, being on council, but I've been doing it.
Good
All right.
job, Michelle.
Yep. Thank you.
That's it?
No more?
Done?
For now.
All right. All right. Pool committee. Barbara, you got something to say?
Yeah, short one.
Okay, so construction and the plantings are complete.
Nice.
The pool.
Yay, that's good.
Yay! And the pool committee is now working on compiling materials needed to furnish and stock the pool complex. And as Bill has already pointed out, he was tasked, and he's been doing his job, thank you very much, with aligning ourselves with other groups like the YMCA and the Red Cross and other things to see what kind of programs we can get going so that we can fully utilize the pool. We're also researching potential staffing and training for the pool. We've got a lot of work to do yet, and I understand that Sandy Sturgill's going to report on the fundraising.
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'll just, that's all I have to say.
Let's see.
Thank
one
you.
question.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
They're considering, they think that the pool cover will be ready and installed this Monday.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
We're getting right along with it.
That's
Nice.
great.
And one of the things that was discussed with the Y was the guard certification, and it turns out that that's a long weekend kind of thing anymore with some online studies and then other things that they do. Wasn't that right, Roy, that it was like 25 hours worth of exposure and work for certification, that the Y usually works collaboratively with the other pools all the pools in the area, basically, to make sure that there's a staffing availability. So,
Is there someone to clean the leaves out of the pool before the,
Right there.
They're cleaned right now.
okay, because I seen a bunch in there the other day and I didn't know, because I'll go down there and clean it out
well, right now it's
if we
empty.
need to.
They pulled the water out because they wanted to recheck the fire main drain, wasn't that the?
Right.
And,
Oh, okay.
And so it's going to get new water and a cover at the same time, so
Okay.
it's going to be covered with the leaves not in the pool, which is working out very nicely, actually.
Okay.
On the furniture for the pool.
Yes.
Remember Tom Bishop had volunteered. When do we think we won't should we let him leave it in storage until the spring?
Yes, spring.
That's
Yeah.
what I would think. But I probably need to go down there and look at what he has and do an accounting. He sent pictures. It looks good, and there was a good amount of it. But I'll have to make a point to go down there and check.
If he wants to get rid of it and has to get rid of it, we'll take it early.
Yeah.
I mean, don't
Yeah.
Right.
let it go just 'cause.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll check on that.
All right. Planning Commission.
Planning Commission met on Tuesday, so we do not have a report yet. It's just with the way that we have the new meeting once a month, 2 days after our meeting. We had public hearings, as you heard, because they were the public hearings that resulted in our public hearings tonight. We also talked about a couple of additional things. One is the street sign issue, which Bill is going to talk about later. And because that's something that Planning Commission has been working on for 2 years, I guess, 2 years. And so making major progress with street sign replacement was a big hooray. And we also talked about the need to continue to ask what next on short-term rentals and B1. And I talked with Andrea today, and she's working on that. Our hope, as I understand it, is to have that done before the season starts next year. So, and I think that's I think the only other thing on Planning Commission. I will say that that Urbanna Main Street, again, we received a grant. I think, I haven't signed the paperwork, but it came in today on that Community Vitality Grant. So we're working on that. The committee that is working on the Holiday Home Tour on Saturday the 9th has done an incredible job. I can't believe the sponsorships they've gotten. They've gotten quite a number of sponsorships, and many from companies around. We didn't want to go to the businesses in town, because everybody always goes to the businesses in town and wants something from them. So we haven't done that. We've gone to, Thrift Oil and Breeze Line, believe it or not, gave us some good cash, and spots on all of their television stations for, I think we have 300 spots for throughout the time. Matt Gobush has been really the go-to person on that. He's incredible when it comes to fundraising. Thank you, Matt. And they're just, it's not the same holiday home tour. And I think some people kind of grieve that. It's like, it's been a lot of years since we had a holiday home tour. A lot has changed in our world and our lives. And I hope that people will come and will enjoy it and will enjoy these lovely homes. We need more volunteers for many of the homes, too. So, and you can volunteer for morning or afternoon. You don't have to be there the whole day. So that helps. So if you want to volunteer, you can get in touch with me. I'll pass you on to Sarah Jane Wyatt for that. And advertising has been great. Team of people working on advertising. I'm just blown away at what they're doing to raise funds for Urbanna Main Street.
So Urbana Main Street isn't going through HUD any longer, it's going through an outside entity?
Through HUD.
Yeah, the Housing and Urban Development?
No, we never went through HUD. It's DHCD is Main Street.
Okay.
That is, we're a member of Virginia Main Street, and that's Department of Community and Housing Development. And that is the source for our grant funds for formation. We had a donation, match donation toward getting our own 501c3 status right now. The UBI has been wonderful to, as many of the groups in this room, to share their 501c3 status and do the accounting for us this time, okay? So anyway, so we're working on getting that status as well as a strategic plan. That's what was funded by DHCD. So in the meantime, we're doing fundraising because we want to do things to support visitors and tourism and businesses in town. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Yeah.
We need to do a blast too on the new kayak rental down there. there's not been a blast put out about it so much, but Warsaw has put out one beautiful blast
My
about
question,
theirs.
my question was, I asked Garth before he departed, I've asked Bill, I have not asked the owners of the company. I can reach out and ask the owners of the company.
Yeah.
But we wanted to know what kind of traffic they got. I don't think it was a good location on the site. It was very hidden. There were times where there were piles of kayaks obscuring it, so it just looked like all the rest of the pile of kayaks. If it had been
Up near the
over,
building.
yeah, exactly. Because then you go, oh, look at there are kayaks for rental, and so there is that. So I have no idea how we did, and yes, we should have had a blast all along.
Yes.
Absolutely. But they normally part of their contract was that they remove it for the winter.
Right.
So I think the thing is if we're going back, with them again, which I hope we do, even if we didn't do great this year, and I don't know, I don't have any idea.
Yeah, we need
no
to put it
risk.
closer to the
It's-
building so that people see it, not over there hidden
Yeah, where it
with,
was hidden.
with that, and
I
then
know it.
keep blasting it out on our website,
Yes. Oh, I know.
Facebook, everything, so
Well,
that
and hopefully that'll
people will know.
coincide with signage for the Blue Water History Trail and other things down there that need to be done.
Yeah, because Warsaw blasted theirs hard, and their pictures are beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really need to get rid of those kayaks and
Yeah, and there's
dinghies
there's a
and
movement
pile of
afoot
stuff there
about putting
that's
new
just
racks
looks like a
I know.
trash dump.
I know.
up on that open area
yeah,
That needs to be
that's
cleaned up.
closer to the water.
Well, that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
anyway, couldn't agree more, Margie.
What
Thank
did you
you.
find out about getting the kayak trail on our website?
Getting anything on our website.
Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I checked into it once, and one of the problems was I got hung up because it's not a friendly site.
yeah, it won't let you pull it in.
It won't let you do anything, and I intended to call them and say, this is not very useful, and I didn't want to talk to Dave to drag it into our website if when you got there you had something that just frustrated you, because that's, people won't come back if they get,
No.
if they
Yeah,
get
it's
turned
very
away.
frustrating.
And the site needs to be improved, and,
It needs to be
and that-
They're
modernized.
using the same system all over the state, so something,
Yeah,
Well,
I watched Bill try to
it's
pull it in, and it wouldn't pull
yeah,
in.
that's right, you were there,
Yeah,
it's like,
and which wasn't operational
and
for,
you'd see a little blurb in a picture, and it didn't seem to be associated with anything. It was
Right.
not at all user-friendly.
yeah,
The other thing is, when we were trying to get the home tour, the holiday home tour on it, because it wasn't on it either, and the calendar starts with the polar plunge for 2023. So you have to go through all the things that have already
It
happened
happened.
to get to the end of the year.
yeah, instead of it being reversed.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
add
Where it
on to-
pushes, yeah. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of things, and I believe, do we have Dave Lipscomb does the
Yeah.
uh-huh? And do we have Dave on retainer? I thought we did. Uh-huh.
He's the designated person, and he charges us based on the time used, right?
I thought, no, I think he
we-
has
we
a
did.
retainer every month.
Very, very minimal what we pay Dave.
Yeah,
We pay them $100 a month.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Who's at it?
Web thing.
Okay.
Well, Kevin
Okay.
Gentry could probably come and help. He's in the county, and he's helped a lot of times here.
he would come too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would.
Well, and Dave does a lot. He does a lot, and I don't.
And he's always responsive when
He
we tell
is.
him
Oh,
He
yeah.
what to
is.
do, but
Yeah, but he's only got so much bandwidth, so this is certainly not an effort to say anything bad.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
No, Dave does a
It's
great
just-
job.
It's just that we need some changes on that.
These are things we need to get worked out eventually.
Yes, yeah.
Well, you're referring to Urbanna.com site.
No.
I guess we are, I think.
are you talking,
There's
yeah,
two different
because
sites.
Town's website,
UrbanaVA.gov.
yes.
Well, that one, whatever's on top is the most recent, whether it's something about trash, but if you're looking at the events, that's Urbanna.com.
Is it?
And
Okay.
that has nothing to do with the town, that's the Urbana Business Association.
There's a
Okay,
redirect.
Right.
When you
Okay.
click on events.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's just linked to.
So that is not the town's.
That's not the town.
Right.
Okay, all right.
That's why you
Yeah.
can't put anything on there.
We shouldn't, anyway. All right.
One other thing, in regards to the kayaks, if you'd asked the treasurer, I could answer. It
Yes.
was under $50 for the
Okay.
whole year.
That we got as far as the fees from that. So way underutilized.
Yes.
So we got to do a better job
And
next year.
in talking to
or
the people
they're
at the
not
marina,
gonna
there's
allow
so
it.
many kayaks down there that people just come down there and take the kayaks and go out into the creek and come back. And say
They
thank
just
you.
borrow
I
one?
think
Yeah, they just take it and use it.
Really?
if you put signage that the kayak trail starts here, and you get it straight so that it comes up, then you could put that over near the kayak.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then they would,
Exactly.
as they were doing it, they might see it and say, hey, yeah,
Exactly.
and run a kayak.
Exactly.
Well,
That's
whoever's got
understanding.
kayaks down there should build their rack, just certain specification, that's called, and then they have to build their rack and pay rent to the town for having their kayaks down there.
I don't think we want them building racks. Yeah, that should be.
Well, I mean, if they built racks and took care of them, it wouldn't be all piled
Well,
up and,
and the marina's working on a plan to have them, like I said, over at the north end in that grassy area, so they're actually out of the line of sight and more easily utilized because they're gonna you have to carry them
They're closer.
less time
Yeah.
or less distance.
oh,
So it's
Yeah.
whoever's piling their stuff up should either pay or keep it at home.
all
I mean,
right.
I'm not trying to be ugly here about stuff, but,
It's a constant battle,
exactly.
Yeah.
you know? Pick
Yep.
up your shoes.
I mean, it wouldn't cross my mind that I would leave my boat or my skiff or my things on the town marina.
Exactly.
That's something I would even
I know
consider.
it.
All right, Sandy, project funding.
Okay. Well, I am proud to report that through the UBI, we have gotten 98,000, we've gotten
Wow.
cash in hand, $98,958.21 as of today.
How much again, I'm sorry?
98,958 as of today.
Okay.
We have in pledges 42,000. And all of those pledges, they don't want to pay them until December, tax reasons. And these are people that are putting 15,000 and 10,000 each. And they want to do it for tax reasons that way. And I think that's what you had with your 10, was mostly he needed that. All right, so that is 42. Then I believe, and Barbara, if y'all can correct me, but I believe this is correct, the town has collected 43,636. And I believe that includes bricks, and that we had 3 sales of $12,000 each for $36,000 to put against their home, their deed against the property.
Right, charter memberships.
Yep, lifetime membership. So all of that adds up together. We have collected $184,500.
Excellent.
We have a pledge from the Oyster Festival that I haven't included for $3,000.
Good.
And Business Association, as of today, has not given us anything, and I think they should. And,
I think they, I thought they announced that they were gonna give some money. Oyster-
The Oyster Festival, yes.
Yes, okay,
but not the Business Association. UBA.
okay.
So,
Okay, so-
all in all, we're very close to 200,000.
That is
Nice.
fantastic.
I think
Good
so,
work,
too.
Sandy.
And she's been working hard, too.
Yep.
She's been working really good.
Good job, Sandy.
Where does that put us, Sandy?
But that we owe.
Yeah, we have what, 500,000 from Tabor,
Yeah,
200
With-
and some thousand in COVID, is that right?
yeah, it was 237, yeah.
And now we're looking at 100, nearly
184.
200,000. So we're right there, right?
Almost.
Yeah.
And we made the
is
dry sump for the fire department that came out of water.
Yeah.
And we've added the pool cover and some other things, but, you know, it's pretty damn close to where we wanted to be.
Thank you all of
Yeah.
you.
Yep, thank you.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
I think by the end of the year, we'll have it with the pledges we've got.
It was 1,000,001, is that what it was?
1,169,000 was the original
The
thing,
original
and it
thing.
is 1,000,002 something because of the modifications we did. 1,260,000.
And we haven't gone over halfway. on anything. We haven't gone on.
No.
No, we're down.
Yeah, we added the pool cover and the water line, and the fire department hydrant.
I went down there today and went into the bathrooms and all. It looks so good. Really looks good.
And we added the landscape.
And the landscaping, right.
So we're really not looking at borrowing any money or anything like that.
Oh, no.
At all.
Nope,
No.
we are good to
That needs
go.
to be stated.
And I'm doing the Facebook
Not stated,
page so that if anybody has something they want to be added to it, please send it to me.
But yeah,
I'll be glad
Beth
to-
volunteered to take over that because I don't even know how to do Facebook.
And I don't mind doing it, but I do need help with pictures and, information, updates. If you could send it to me, I'll be glad to put it on there.
I'd like to say real quick, since we're talking about the pool and the funding of that, for our deepest sympathies to the marshals for the loss of
yes.
Pat Marshall.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And we're going to work on trying to get the donor wall decided on because these people are going to want their names up there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, the bubbles are a
Okay.
good idea, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Public comment. We got anything for public comment? What?
I didn't sign, but I'd like to say something for me.
You didn't, how are we gonna know who you are, Billy?
Come on, Billy.
William Mayo, 320 Rappahannock Avenue. 30 years ago, we had a problem with, I think, 6 dogs got poisoned in the town of Urbanna. Oh, they found who was doing it. We got a hold of the sheriff and the mayor, and everybody got walking around looking, come find out that a guy changed antifreeze in his car, and he left it in a pan, and that's what happened. But two of the dogs died. Actually, mine didn't. That's the only reason I know about it. But they put a thing in the Sentinel about, you can be charged.
It's a
if you're
felony.
caught.
Right.
And I think that helped more than anything else.
You hear that?
So it may be worthwhile.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy.
Sure.
No.
You're talking about doing some stuff, excuse me.
You got to come up to the microphone.
But yeah,
Yeah, because that's the only way we can record you. We can hear you.
Be recorded.
Well, Martha can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm Jill Duran. I just had a question. We were talking about the YMCA and the pool, doing some combo things. Would they consider like some type of joint membership thing? Like,
no.
no, okay.
No, and the way this works is the YMCA would lease the pool for periods of time to allow their projects to come in,
Okay,
okay?
yeah, that makes more sense. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
that does.
Okay. Any more public comment? Scripted or unscripted? All right. Old business? Anybody got any old business? Moving on to new business. The first item under new business is, for a long time, people have talked about the street signs, replacing them, et cetera. And Chrissy Anzavino and Don Dreyer worked tirelessly, rounding up companies, getting bids, getting street signs set up. And I had gotten the council to agree to move forward on it at the town's expense. That being said, when I was discussing with Martha about the color of the signs and that we should have a match the sign, for example, that's at Waverly and Virginia Street, because the color would be the same with it being green, she asked the question, well, who put those signs up? At which point, I checked with our good friend, Mr. Peaks, who came to talk to us about VDOT, and he said, well, that's the responsibility of the local jurisdiction, and so the county would have put those up because that's in the county, or was at the time. And so I just did a Google search and found that April 18th of 2000, that the county passed a 911, enhanced 911 ordinance where they used 911 fees on phone service for the purchase of street signs, but that Urbana was specifically excluded
Yes.
unless we adopted the county's 911 ordinance. And so, Mr. Tuning informed me that at the last Board of Supervisors, because I brought it up to Matt Walker, that if we adopted the county's ordinance, that they would pay for the replacement of our street sign.
Adopted.
And so, part of the discussion tonight, now, I thought it was just going to be a resolution, but it's an ordinance. And because it's an ordinance, what we have to do is we have to have a public hearing, and then we have to have the discussion, and we have to abandon our ordinance and adopt their ordinance. And so we can do this at the December meeting, but there are pitfalls of doing that. And I guess I'll start out by saying, my opinion, I think the county doesn't pay enough attention to us to begin with, and I don't know that they would go out of their way to do things like change the names of our streets to satisfy their needs. And so, but in adopting their ordinance, we give them the right to determine the names for our streets,
Oh.
because that's, am I saying that right?
No.
Well, and so I took a stab at
Okay.
preparing a draft ordinance today, and I sent it to Roy
Yeah.
and to you. And rather than having it says that our ordinance has to mirror their sign ordinance.
Okay.
And so I mirrored it, but not with giving them the ability to do those things. I switched it back to the town.
Okay.
And so we'll,
So
we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
I don't think the county's gonna change any of this.
So they would, basically what that says is they would come in and just change the names of our streets if they chose to.
They
No,
don't.
they wouldn't, they
That's the
wouldn't
worry.
change it.
No,
They're not.
That's what that says.
May say that.
That
No, what,
is what I'm asking.
Okay. We have to adopt an ordinance that is like theirs. I have prepared that, and what I did was I put the street names within the purview of the town, not the county.
But I understand that, but what I'm saying, if you don't put that in there, then they can change the name of our streets to whatever they want them to be.
Correct.
Okay.
But in the ordinance that has to be mirrored, it says that, Urbana is exempt from the ordinance unless it has a resolution that we're talking about now. And it says, if adopted by the town, the location of each dwelling or building shall be the combination of the house number and street assigned from time to time by the town council
Oh.
of the agent.
okay.
Well, because that's how we put it.
So, but I mean, that's in theirs.
Yes, in theirs.
Oh, that's in theirs? Okay.
So, I mean, we
Okay.
have a bunch of protections.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, I thought they would have to go out of their way to do something nefarious to the town. But,
Well, and what I'm saying is that since you and I talked about
Yeah.
that, I looked at it and I've kind of tweaked it to make it so that they can't.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
good.
Now, the question will be whether they'll find that acceptable or not.
so do we ask them before we pass it, or do we pass it and then say, here we go, we adopted your ordinance?
That's like a question for the mayor town administrator.
Yeah, I think we better ask
I think
first.
there's some areas where we can negotiate on this a little bit, and it should be negotiated with them prior to just trying to
Pass it.
Because I can look at it a little bit, but
So maybe what we should do is agree to move forward with the adjusted ordinance and send it to the county for scrutiny?
So my suggestion would be that
Meet with them and
you vote tonight to advertise a public hearing for the December meeting, and that forthwith that you and Roy reach out to the county and talk with them.
Okay.
right. And,
Good.
what's in the county's ordinance is not bad, you know. This is our street sign. It's the same size that the other one would be. And I was driving around today looking, and I thought, man, those street signs look a lot smaller, green ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, but they're 9 feet up in the air.
Did you see
Right.
that?
Yeah.
No, we're gonna print these up and sell them as unique things.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
I like
We want to
the story.
auction them.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Fundraising. No, that came from the shed up in the, up by the
So
water.
the bottom line is, this is a move to try to get our street signs paid for by the county.
And so far, they've been
Which is like
cooperative on this, right?
$20,000.
Wow. They've been cooperative on this so far, yeah.
That has
Yeah.
never been
But, you know,
negotiated.
we would get
Yeah.
a square or a rectangular pole, you know, with little holes in it.
Right.
The breakaways.
As opposed to our nice round black ones that
Right.
are falling apart. So they set some requirements in their ordinance that we would have to abide by, or might have to abide by. One of the things that I think we could negotiate on is the color of them. They want them green with white, maybe that's okay. If we want them blue with white, we ought to say we're like.
What about our oyster?
I like the idea of the oyster.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know it.
And they have it in here someplace that you can stick a decal
Yeah.
on it.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
That'd be okay.
Okay, yeah.
That would,
You know, we have
Yeah.
to look at what kind of font we want too. I mean, so it's not,
It's
For
not just a done
911
deal.
systems, though, they do have requirements for font and for size and for all kinds of things
Yeah,
because of readability.
Right, it's a standard,
Yeah,
it's a
it
standard
is.
protocol.
It is, yeah.
When you know, isn't that wide a range of choices?
But we may have some choices, that's the point, and so why not find out if we do?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
So we
You know,
need to
we-
make a motion to,
I'll make, yeah,
Authorize advertisement.
for a public hearing for street sign replacement
At the December,
at the December 2023 meeting.
so that was a motion.
And then
And I
that'll
second
give
the motion.
Roy and me something to do after Thanksgiving.
I don't know. honey.
okay, she
What-
seconded the motion.
Yes, what date is that for December? I'm sorry, our meeting?
Not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
14th or something like that?
It's the 14th.
14th?
Yeah, the 14th. Yes,
So,
that's
Okay.
the day you bring the gifts for everyone here.
exactly. All right. Any further discussion?
If you didn't have us, you wouldn't have news.
All right. With no further discussion, we'll take a vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Alana?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the next item, which is the VA 250, which is the 250th anniversary since the Declaration of Independence, correct?
Yes.
And there are grants available to highlight the history of this area with respect to the Revolutionary War and Declaration of Independence. And Urbanna is a hotbed of that kind of activity. And the county has a committee that has been formed, but towns are also allowed to form committees. And the history of the area is different from the history of this town. And so there's a movement to form a committee to highlight Urbanna as a separate entity. Does that say it properly?
Yes.
And so, does anyone else want to expound on?
I want to say that Trent Funkhauser, who is Economic Development for Middlesex County, and he is one of our Urbana Main Street board members. And he is really coming around as far as trying to do things to support the town. I know that he's trying to figure out what we might be able to do. But he said they just recently realized that localities could as well.
Correct.
Not just the county. Why wasn't Urbana doing something? I said, I don't know. So that's a source. I know they also, for the holiday home tour, they're taking grant funds that they got for, it's some holiday cheer thing that they're doing, and they're devoting those funds to what we're doing as opposed to some other thing, just other things. So I'm hopeful. I'm seeing some support. Yeah.
Right. And-
Well,
Yeah.
And Matt
It's good,
Gobush is trying to get independent funds, so his intent is for the fiscal impact to the town coffers will be
Minimal.
minimal, if not zero.
Exactly.
And so
So you've already established,
the
250
grant, the
committee?
grant money is out there, yes.
no, I'm saying you've already established this group of people to do this?
No,
And no, it's
Well,
not,
when you were saying Matt, that's why I was asking.
Matt Gobush is the person who really
He's been
spearheaded.
chasing the whole Virginia
He's been-
250 thing.
he's-
He asked me a lot of questions. I couldn't
Right.
answer them.
he attended a meeting,
Yeah.
in Richmond, maybe.
Yeah, and just recently,
Yeah.
this is sort of hot off the
Last
press.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did the webinar, I watched the webinar on this, so,
Okay, so.
Yeah, and he was at the meeting.
okay.
And he and Gary both called the town and said, hey, we want to try to get this done. Can you put it on the agenda? And then at the MPPDC meeting on Tuesday, Trent Funkhauser talked to me about it and said that it was his understanding that towns were now eligible for the matching grant funds as well, and that he encouraged us to do it.
This is a terrible question. What year is the 250th anniversary? 26?
Matt,
The links go to Trent,
Oh, okay, just 1776.
Bill,
Not 250.
the links,
Okay.
the Trent, golly.
Do you want to think about it and
I
get
think
back
I
to me?
need some more, something. The link, and when you click it, goes to Trent. And Trent has helped a lot with stuff here in town that some people probably
Really
don't
trying,
even know.
yeah.
Right.
But, is this something we're looking for somebody to be part of, or has this already been formed?
no, it's-
Let him say so.
I know that, well, Larry,
the urgency of this is tied to a grant.
right.
Now, according to Matt, I had about a 45-minute conversation with him over the telephone. The first grant, there are several times that you can apply for grants. If we want to do it soon, it's got to be done by the end of November.
Oh.
And then but they're more down the road. So, and he told me exactly what the dates were, but I can't remember. But my thought is that I don't see why it'd be so difficult to, if it's the end of November, we really have enough time to put it together, I would think.
Right.
Somebody
But we
somebody
need,
does, yeah.
a resolution, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That we
And-
have formed.
And Matt offered to spearhead
Yeah, there you
the
go.
movement. And so,
Let's do it.
And Marjorie, kind of answer your question, the committee hasn't been formed, but the resolution says the Urbana Town Council will form a committee, so.
Yeah, I was but I was just confused with what Bill was saying, that's why I was asking.
yeah. Yeah, Matt, I think, wants to be the point man on,
He wants to write the grants.
Right.
I certainly have.
Yay.
Definitely.
All for that. What's the problem with that?
yeah, there's a magic sentence.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Well, if this is something that council's gonna have somebody working on with Matt, I would like to be part of that 250.
okay.
See where that's a problem.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve a resolution
I'll make a motion.
supporting the Virginia American 250 Commission?
Yes. Now therefore it be resolved by the Urbanna Town Council that the Urbanna Town Council hereby desires to support the Virginia 250 Commission in their efforts to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Virginia participation in American independence.
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Oh, I see it.
Any further discussion? Sandy?
Yes.
I was trying to think what, okay. Mary?
Yes.
Alana?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.
All right. Moving on. It turns out that the town of Urbana doesn't have a bad check fee.
Wow.
And according to our treasurer, it hasn't been commonly necessary.
Oh,
However, recently, it was. And so I checked with Tracy at the county, and the county has a $25 fee associated with bounce checks. And according to what the town attorney has provided with me, you can charge up to $50, correct? And so it would be another ordinance, which means that we would have to pick a number and advertise, just like with the street signs. And so the question is whether we want to do that.
I mean, how often?
Well, yeah,
does this
people can't
happen?
run around writing bad checks.
Exactly.
After we went through all this with this customer, it literally turned out to be a bank error. So the bank refunded
dear.
her fees. She came in and replaced the check, and the bank also refunded the fee. The bank double dipped, so they
Okay.
charged the customer for writing a non.
So it's
Right,
not something
right.
that
And they
happens.
charge us for a handling service.
Wow.
charge. So they refunded our fee, and it'll just be what I call a wash in the checking account. But if it happens again with nothing out there, I technically can't even collect the $10 that the bank charged us.
Right.
So we should do a $35, $10 for whatever the bank's charging us, and then 25 for
50, you do
them.
50.
So you want to go higher than the county?
No,
Go with 50 'cause
$35.
we can,
Yeah.
go with 50.
Yeah, I say go 50.
Yeah.
Well, 30,
Go big or go home.
Everybody else is going out.
And the bank fee currently is $10, but
It could
next month
change,
it
yeah.
could be 15.
It's true,
Yeah.
that's true.
So
Will this be another ordinance that nobody does anything about if it does?
Well, I think Michelle.
no, not Michelle.
Enforcing it.
Yeah.
you know,
think
that
it
gets
gets
into,
So many
Maybe.
ordinances, nobody ever does anything.
right,
We can't do
but,
that.
I know.
but if you look at some of our ordinance, you know, the penalty for some of the things that you break are basically, you know, raising your voice and stomping your feet. So you know, there's, all you can do is correct what you can correct and then try to move on. And yeah, enforcement is a big thing, but Michelle can't try to recoup the money if there's no charge that's
Right.
associated.
Let's do it.
Yep,
Let's do the
let's
50.
do it.
Michelle, what do you think, 35 or 50?
When I was the banker, I felt really guilty charging the fee because they couldn't afford it, and that's the
Well,
reason the
that's
check.
my-
Right.
The check
Yeah.
bounced because they didn't have any money.
Yeah, my
Right.
thinking, it ought to be.
$10.
It ought to be 25, because that's
25.
what the county's doing.
Can we
Because
do
they-
something 35 based on the fee being 10, but if the bank fee increases, then we increase?
You have to do
No.
another ordinance.
Yeah, you'd have to do another
And
ordinance.
you're gonna have to pay to advertise it.
Well, Larry thinks 25 since that's what the
You're so
county
nice.
does.
I wonder how old the county's is.
Tracy told me that it was 20 and she increased it to 25 when she became treasurer.
Okay, so.
So 3 or 4 years. I say 35.
Go with the 50.
Go with the 50.
No.
I can arrange payment plans, so just.
That's the spirit.
So we're going with $50?
$50. Okay, so I guess we need
A motion,
resolution to,
a motion to authorize,
Motion
a
to
motion to,
advertise
and yes,
of an ordinance to provide for a fee of payments returned for insufficient funds.
of $50.
We don't have to put that
Yeah.
for the public
Fee of
hearing.
$50.
That's all we're
You have to
doing.
put the 50 in
I
there?
got it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's $50, but we just needed to make a motion for the,
For the
To
advertising
advertise
Oh, I
for the
see, I
meeting.
see, I see.
Okay.
right. Didn't require the amount.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
You guys are such a good team.
I
No,
know.
they're bookends, bookends.
I was told when I got this sick.
Any
I had
further
to do-
discussion? Okay, Marjorie,
Was the bill-
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Larry,
No.
I'd say yes. Alana,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
Okay. Passes 6-1. All right. Now, I need a motion to go into closed meeting. Does somebody want to read?
Pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for the discussion of the hiring of a new town administrator.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Discussion? All right, Marjorie,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
I say yes. Alana,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all for coming.